Former military governor of Ondo State and former deputy national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Bode George, has expressed concerns over what he describes as a lack of transparency by the federal government of Nigeria regarding the payment of fuel subsidy. Reacting to the nationwide broadcast to Nigerians on Sunday, August 4, where President Tinubu said his decision to remove fuel subsidy was necessary, Chief George, during his press briefing in Lagos, condemned the secrecy surrounding the oil sector, urging the government to come clean on its dealings. Joining us now on the show is Chief Bode George, former military governor of Ondo State and former deputy national chairman of the People's Democratic Party. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the morning show. It's good to see you.
Always my pleasure, and a very good morning to you too.
All right, great. So yesterday you had a press conference where you spoke on a number of issues, but let's start with the one that we are speaking about this morning with regards to the fuel subsidy. So there's been that back and forth. Is it still being paid? Is it not being paid? When we recall the iconic statement, iconic, by the president on the 29th of May 2023, where he said fuel subsidy is gone. Is it really gone? And if it's not, why or who isn't telling Nigerians the truth?
Thank you for having me. I am so miffed.
We can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes, okay. I said I've been so miffed about the goings on in this particular industry. On one side, you hear, the fuel subsidy is still there. On another side, you hear that there's no subsidy. So, and I listened to the last segment of your production. And the gentleman who was talking, and trying to explain has further confused me. At my level, with the education I have, my experience in this country, I can't understand what he was saying. Now, who is telling the truth? The NNPC is owned by the federal government, which means it is owned by all Nigerians. We want to know what exactly is going on there. I'm not in that field of operation, but I'm educated enough to listen to A and listen to B, and then conclude in my mind if there is need to support the operations or the policies of the government, we will. And if there are shortfalls in what they are producing or telling us in the country, we will be able to say. Nobody has a monopoly of knowledge, but let's share it. Let's tell ourselves the home truth. I am more confused because first, why did we go back to re-energize a refinery that was built in the 60s, pumping so much money into it? I'm an engineer by profession. It's like you have a car that you bought in the 60s. This is 2024. You want to now refurbish it. It's like trying to redesign an old man at 80 or 90 so that he can be ready for a 100-meter dash race. How? The technology at that time, which was purely analog, compared to the digital systems now that we are running. So I am very confused, and if I am confused, many other Nigerians are confused. And one thing that beats my mind, now I ask myself, who is the Minister of Petroleum? The President. Who is the Chairman of the NNPC? His good friend, Akiye Lure. Now, there is the other gentleman from the Minister of State, Heineken from Bayelsa.
Yes.
So they don't own it. It's not a personal enterprise. And it's not a private enterprise. It is owned by all Nigerians. We want to know the truth. What is going on there? Then Aliko had his own. I remember when General Buhari went there to commission that refinery, we were told that, oh, Nigeria, as Nigerian government, has 51% of it. Recently, Aliko said, yes, we were supposed to have done certain things which we didn't do. Therefore, our shareholding has reduced to 7%. Please, look, time is running out. People are hungry, and people are therefore angry. This major source of income for this country is in dire strait. What are we going to do? Let them tell us the truth.
Okay, sir.
For God's sake.
Okay, sir.
It's the major, you know what further bothered me was the fact that last week they issued a statement, I mean this week, that, oh, we will sell the crude to Dangote in Naira. I got shocked. The young man that just left was trying to now explain, you know, the reason why, you know, they could still sell to him in Naira and all that. What is the major source of income for our treasury? It is the crude oil. So the mismanagement of that crude oil has led to a lot of losses into private hands.
Okay, sir.
And that's why this nation looks like a major capital country drifting into the abyss.
Okay, sir. So, I mean, you've made a very valid point. But I also know that you are on good terms with the president now, President Tinubu. I'm sure you guys still talk on the phone. Or when last have you spoken to him?
No.
You don't talk to him on the phone?
You know,
I thought after Mr. Gbajabiamila came to beg, I thought everything has been settled.
Yeah, it's settled, but, you know, we're not enemies.
But you don't talk?
We are not enemies. No. Because what would I say? He is known. I mean, we have physically met maybe about once or twice. One time at the burial of this gentleman in Ibadan. And I think that's the only time we physically met. But occasionally when I feel very concerned about certain policies, because they have come to say, please, we are sorry about what happened. I said, and I'm not God. I said, that's okay. But if I have anything, I'll call Femi, or call one of the other people that I know there. That, look, you guys, be careful.
Okay,
be careful.
So
explain yourself.
So have you
know,
called?
I've been out now for about 6 weeks.
Okay, so concerning this matter,
for about 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Concerning this matter, have you by any time called Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila and said, Femi, can they be honest to tell us, is Nigeria paying subsidy or not? Let's even start from there. And the second question is, can they be honest enough to tell us why is it that NNPC that's supposed to be making money for Nigeria has become Nigeria's money borrowing device? Can you just, probably in the interest of the country, can you just call Mr. Gbajabiamila and probably you should ask him that question? Because you know, you have more legs than some of us here.
You know, I've been out of the country.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Right. Look, I've been out of this country for about 6 weeks. So, and I just came back. I came back this week. So I am fresh and green. And you know, when you are out of the box, you see it better. You listen to even the international voices, their comments, their perception about our nation. And as I landed, stories about NNPC, we are going to borrow subsidies there, subsidies removed. So I got quite interested to say, look, I thought we are in one direction, just to release the pains from the people. Let's release the pains from the people. And, you know, I am, yesterday was about the third day that I got back here. So once we finish, like you have advised, I will call Femi. People really are interested in the truth. If we know exactly where we are, that will define the problems we have. Then we can all be convinced, put all our energy in trying to support them to resolve the problems. The issue of palliatives doesn't make any economic sense to me. Look, teach people how to fish so you can feed them forever. And how many times are you going to keep buying rice and supplying rice? Some of those palliatives are so bad. You cannot. This country is massive. There are other issues or ways you can follow to positively impact on the people. Microcredit, very low interest rate, special rates for farmers. So you can buy fertilizers to support them for production. If it's just merely consumption you are looking at, then I don't know the voodoo economists that are there advising the president. So, like you suggested, I will call Femi and I will tell him my own mind. And that's why when we had a party meeting in Lagos, we all resolved that I must speak to the people, you know. But I will try. I will try and call him and tell him my own mind. Yeah. This story is, you know, it's very, very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And, of course, thank you for your efforts to continue to engage the powers that be. Now, analysts, economists, the whole lot have done their calculations. So we know that if truly there were no fuel subsidy, that the price of PMS would most likely be more than double of what it's selling for at the moment. Now, my question is, are we ready for the unintended consequences that may follow if the truth is to be told, which is that subsidy exists, and the commitments, the contracts, the loans, the dollars that have come in from the IMF and the World Bank into this economy based off of the promise that subsidy would be removed? That's one scenario. The other scenario is, are we ready for a scenario where the government says, okay, fine, subsidy is truly, completely removed, and we see PMS more than doubling in price? Are we prepared for the unintended consequences of the demands that we're making?
You know, that is why you have a government. A government in a democracy. A government listens to the base. Like those who protested recently, all those activities were supposed to be a feedback on the policies of government. Of course, some rascals tried to intervene, to create mayhem and all that. But I believe when I heard the comments, the response by the president that he has had Nigerians, I was happy that he says he has had Nigerians. But the solutions that he has proffered will further land us in an intensive care unit. He's not giving solutions that are going to be palatable or acceptable to the people of this country. They need to go back to their drawing board and assess. It is better to teach the people how to fish rather than be spending all that money buying palliatives. Over 200 million people. How are these palliatives distributed? So look, This is a modern world now. It's a digital world. Try and give microcredits to the farmers. Farmers are known. On those areas where they do production, in another 6 to 9 months from now, there will be so much production that the competition will lower the prices among the farmers. But the way we are going, oh, you go and buy this, or you appeal to this Oba, or you appeal to that, that's mundane. That's very, very, I don't know how to say it. So it is the approach now. Everybody has accepted that something has gone wrong, including the presidency. We don't even know who is the Minister of Information. That should be the voice of the government. We don't hear anything from him.
All right,
we
actually know
when I had
Chief Bode George, we actually know the Minister of Information and National Orientation. In fact, in recent times, we actually took a report earlier today, Mr. Mohammed Idris. In recent times, he's come out a bit more in terms of giving more information and talking about the efforts of the government. There's a full team of SAs to the government or to the president on information and strategy and the likes who've consistently come out. Maybe the messaging or the communication has not been effective, but they've been coming out, and I believe that they're trying to step up to do more. Yeah. But since we're on the issue of hardship,
because I wasn't in. Maybe because I wasn't been in the country, I didn't know that.
You were for 6 weeks, but I believe that's great feedback for them, because if you haven't heard from them, then that's something to say with regards to how effective that communication is currently. But let's talk about the protests, because you also touched on it during your press conference yesterday, in addition to the fuel subsidy. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. The state of the nation, the fact that people are coming out to protest hardship and hunger in the land. The northern leaders recently made a statement that for the government to communicate what they are saying by action, they should cut all foreign trips. No more foreign. In fact, they should say no for ESTA codes. Do you agree with this? Should there be cuts in the spending of this particular government?
You know, it depends. It depends on what is going on in the world.
Please go ahead, sir.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. I didn't quite hear the last segment of your speech.
All right. I said, so I was just asking you in terms of your view on the protest, hardship, the state of the economy, and cutting cost of governance.
Okay. Now, you know, once you have a major financial crisis, and the inflation is running dangerously too high, and the government must sit down and find out solutions to put a smile on the faces of Nigerians. Part of democracy is the reaction, the feedback to the government on their policies. If people decide that, look, they are not satisfied, they want to go on protest, why not? It's part of their constitutional right. But the way it was managed in certain states calls for question. But government should not debar people from exercising their rights. It's a feedback. Aside from the ministries that will come back and give you all those permanent secretaries, directors, and civil servants and all that will tell you stories, and those in the legislative arms who should visit their constituencies to get feedback, it is necessary. We're not in a military government. So I supported the fact that people should go out peacefully to tell the government why they are not happy. It's a feedback. And when you get the feedback, it is incumbent on you to go back to your drawing board and revisit your policies. Because power in a democracy comes from the base. It comes from the people. It is unlike the military that power comes from the top. You know, so I completely supported the idea that people will, now they have now listened to the people. He himself accepted that now we have had you. We would now go back and try to find solution. Now, this other issue of subsidy or no subsidy, I don't know who is telling the truth. In one breath, you hear there is subsidy. In another breath, you hear there is no subsidy. Oh, it is the IMF or the World Bank or this. Let us know the truth, for God's sake. It's our fundamental right. And if you want to tell the people, if they know what the truth is, they will also think, we should support you to succeed. But if we are seeing it that all these stories that are going from Dangote to government to this, they're just like a whistling in the dark. How would you support? We are more confused.
Okay, sir.
So for me, I love, the way so far they have listened. They said they want to do find some solutions. That one of the major solutions is this issue of crude oil. It's confusing. Something is not right.
Okay, sir.
Yes.
I deliberately asked you that first question for a reason. And that's why I asked that, have you called your people or do you still speak to them? I deliberately asked it for a reason. Because you were the one a couple of weeks ago, probably before you traveled, sir, that you said we should give him more time.
Yeah.
And
I said
the argument with you then was, how can you give more time when next year people will start preparing for 2027? In fact, they've even started preparation for 2027 already. So why should we give more time? And that's why I'm asking, the same people you said we should give more time, have you contacted them? Because now you are saying we are not clear about crude oil.
No.
Maybe we should give them more time to tell us the truth about if we are paying subsidy or not. No, that's the first question. The second question, sir, I know you are a big Lagosian.
Yes.
I want you to speak to the ethnic rhetoric and baiting that is going on in Lagos.
Yeah.
2 questions, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now, thank you very much, Rufai. Maybe you didn't quite understand my comments when I said, no, look, let's give him that time. The first year in office, he had to get himself prepared. He had never worked in the villa. He had never worked at that national level. Give him that 1 year, the first year, that's what I said, that first year as a learning curve, that after the May 29th, and I said to them, after this May 29, 2024, he has no excuse anymore. Please don't throw him under the bus because of the first year. Now we are in the second year. All the experiences he needed to have garnered, he must have all had. So what is he doing from May 29, 2024 to the future? This is why we are all coming out now. You have learned enough. The first year was a learning curve. I said people don't start firing salvos at him. Let us give him that time to learn. Fortunately, General Buhari's tenure too can be divorced from what is going on now, because it's the same party. So they are saying the same policies. Now people are now trying to separate his administration from General Buhari's administration. It's impossible. I just said give him that leeway, that 1 year, to learn how things work at the national, that Lagos is not Abuja. And of course, in 1 year, more than enough that he has learned. So from now on, maybe he hasn't been able to spread all his tentacles all over for people to input you know, towards his final decision making. I don't know.
Okay,
but
the ethnic situation
that
in
is,
Lagos.
I didn't say give him perpetual.
Okay.
Now, the situation in Lagos.
Yeah.
The situation in Lagos, I want to be very candid here.
Thank you, sir. But
when I hear people
Bode,
talk about, oh, the Igbos are not wanted.
Chief George,
yes.
just to mention, we have just 1 more minute for this segment. So if you can put your thoughts together in a minute, we'll be most grateful, sir.
Very good. You know, Lagos is a melting pot, like New York City in America. We do not discriminate about tribes, about this. We accept everybody who comes to Lagos. Once you have your goods to sell, this is the center of commerce in this country. Not only in this country, for the whole of West Africa. Since I was a little boy, they used to drum in our eardrums at that age. That there's a saying in my local language.
All right, sir.
You know, Lagos, when I hear people who come from Ogun State telling Igbos you should get out, it is utter nonsense. We don't do that here.
All right, we don't do that here.
People, but you should know what you need to do. We don't send people out. We accept them. We encourage them.
All right, thank you so much, Chief Bode George, and welcome back home. Lagos is a home for all, and indeed we accept everyone. Thank you.